Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today. Today we are doing curry chicken and couscous. The food's so nice they named it twice. We're going to start off and get our curry going, and then we'll work on our couscous and come back to our curry. So what we're going to do first is we're going to chop up our onion, our jalapeno pepper, our garlic, and our ginger. If you don't like spicy food, leave this jalapeno out or just use part of it. It's all up to you. It's kind of however you feel. But we're going to just take the stem end of the onion off, and then we'll just cut it in half, and we will peel it. And there's two ways you can do this. You can either puree everything up in a little food processor and it'll kind of make more of a sauce, or if you don't have a food processor, you can dice it up. I'm going to dice everything up to show you how to dice it up. Now I'm going to throw mine in the food processor to process it down, so that way you can kind of see both ways of how to make this. So we're going to take our onion, we peeled it, there's lines that go in the onion, we're going to cut with those lines, and we're just going to do, the more lines you do, the smaller your onion pieces are going to be. So if you're putting this in a food processor, you can just do a couple whacks, that way you got some pieces to put in there. But if not, you can do these things kind of small, so that way they cook down a little more. So our onion is getting chopped up. We'll do the other half of the onion as well. Get that all nice and chopped. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in my food processor. If you don't have a food processor, just kind of hang off, or let it hang out, and we'll add the onion, the jalapeno, the garlic, and the ginger to the pan all at the same time. So we're just going to put this in our little chopper here. And I'm making a mess, but it's alright. I'll clean it up in a little bit. Take my jalapeno. I'm going to cut this in half, and we'll cut this into some strips. And then we can take that and put those strips together and just dice those up. And again, if you don't like spicy food, leave this jalapeno out. It's all up to you. I like a little bit of spice, so I'm going to leave that and the seeds in there. Just remember, when you are chopping up peppers, don't touch your eyes when you do it. Chop your pepper up, go wash your hands or wear gloves like I'm doing, and then still wash your hands if you have gloves on, so that way you don't get any pepper juice in your eyes, because it's not very fun when it happens. I know from experience working in plenty of restaurants where I'm making pico de gallo and I just chop up the peppers, I'm squeezing the limes, I get lime juice in my eye, so I go rub it, and I just rub jalapeno juice in it, so it just gets even worse. It's a fun day when that happened. So we got our onion and our pepper in there. I'm going to add some garlic to it. I'm cheating and using pre-chopped garlic. I'll be alright, I'll still mix up in there. We're going to do about 3 cloves-ish of garlic, and then about a tablespoon of ginger. The squeezed ginger stuff's great. You can find it at most supermarkets in the produce section, kind of on the top shelf where the herbs are. It's a great time saver. You can use a little bit of it, put it in the fridge and save it for another day. They do garlic the same way as well. So we got all this done, and I'm just going to puree it up a little bit. I love these little things. So we got everything all nice and chopped up in there. I'm going to add my oil to the pan now. I just got a whiff of that jalapeno. It smells great. So we add about 2 tablespoons of oil to the pan, and we're going to light it up. There we go. we're going to add our onion paste in there. Let me grab a little spatula to get all of that goodness out of there. That's a lot of flavor and yumminess, so you don't want to lose any of it. So we're just going to let this cook down until we get a little bit of some browning around the edges. And then we'll add our chicken to it in a second. So for our couscous, I got a cup of couscous, and I got 2 cups of boiling chicken stock here. Just going to add my couscous right to that. Add my raisins to it. Give this a little bit of a stir. Turn it off. Cover it and just let it go. That couscous will absorb that chicken broth, and it'll puff up a little bit and be awesome. It's a nice thing that you can just kind of do, let it go, and then you can add vegetables and vinaigrette to it and have a nice little salad side dish for it. This is going to be a nice side for our curry, so we're just going to let that sit and do its thing while we work on the rest of our curry dish. So I'm going to wipe up a little bit of that onion. Our onion mixture is going. We are going to start chopping up some potatoes. I put potatoes in my curry because when I get takeout, the takeout place I get from puts potatoes in the curry I get, and I love it. So I'm sharing that with you all. I've cheated and buy the pre-sliced potatoes, and you can do the whole potatoes and do dices. I'm just kind of going to do these in rough chunks just because they're already cooked, and we're just kind of adding them in. They just kind of add a little substance to our curry. So I'm just kind of making a little plus sign in them, and we'll have different sizes, and it'll be great. And we're kind of just cutting those, putting them off to the side. Get them out of the can. Like I said, you can do the whole potatoes and dice them up. I'm doing the pre-sliced ones because it's a little cheat that you don't have to cut up as much, and it's a little time saver. And they're the same price in the store, so why not save a little time when you can and not have to worry about the extra money. So our potatoes are done. I love using these for hash as well for Sunday brunch when you're kind of craving something but you don't really want to do a whole lot of work. Get a can of these down, kind of chop them up like I am here, a little Cajun seasoning on them, and throw them in a pan with some butter, or if you cook some bacon, use that leftover bacon grease. You got some great home fries in no time. So these guys are just about done. And now we just need to chop up our chicken. We'll kind of push those off to the side so that way they can hang out. I got some chicken here. We're just doing chicken breast. You can do chicken thighs if you prefer. I'm just going to cut this little bit of fat and the connective joint for the wing off there. And then you can do this as big or as little pieces as you like. I like little tiny pieces of stuff, so I'm going to probably cut them a little smaller than what they need to be, but that's how I like it. You can cut bigger pieces if you want and save you a little bit of time. So our onions and stuff still looking pretty good. Just cutting some chicken fingers out of our chicken. And then we'll give it a turn, and we got a little dice chicken now. And this is a great way to cut chicken if you want to do like chicken soup. You can chop it up like that if you don't want to drop it in there whole and let it shred. The smaller pieces will cook a little faster too, so there's always that for cutting it up smaller. This doesn't seem to have as much little fat in the connective tissue on it, so that one's going to be alright. So we're just going to cut this into some strips. And we'll give that a turn and dice it up. And that is ready to go. I'm going to take these gloves off now since I'm done playing with raw chicken for a little bit. Our onions and garlic and jalapeno peppers are starting to get a little browning on the edges, so I'm kind of make sure to spread it out a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and start adding some spices to it. So I need a teaspoon and a half teaspoon of most everything. So I need a teaspoon, or sorry, 2 tablespoons of curry powder. So we'll get our curry powder, which is right here. So 2 tablespoons of curry powder. 1, 2. A teaspoon of cumin. A little extra gets in there, it's alright. You know, it's just a little more flavor. Teaspoon of paprika. I'm using smoked paprika, so there's a little more heat with it. So we got that in there. And then a teaspoon of chili powder. There's a lot of stuff going in here, but it's going to be delicious whenever it is done. And everything else is a half teaspoon, so we need a half teaspoon of turmeric. Got our turmeric. Half teaspoon of cardamom. This stuff smells great. Can you guys smell that? It smells really good. I love this stuff. Sometimes you can find the whole pods at the store. They make really good tea with them. A half teaspoon of mustard powder. If you don't have mustard powder, you can do a little bit of actual mustard in there and it'll be alright. And then a half teaspoon of cinnamon. I know it's a weird one to add in there, but it goes great, trust me. So we're just going to give this all a big mix. And if you guys could smell this, oh man. We're going to add our tomato paste as well. That cardamom smells great. Add our tomato paste. I always add my tomato paste before any liquid or other tomato products. That way you can get kind of a little caramelization on it. And it kind of helps with that, you know, metallic-y tomato taste, canned taste that you can sometimes get from stuff. So just making sure this gets all mixed up. It's getting to be a nice, flavorful, colorful paste of stuff. So now we're going to add our chicken to the pan. We don't need to add our potatoes just yet because they're already cooked, but we'll add them in a second. So we got our chicken in there. Get all that chicken in there. And mix this up. That chicken's going to pick up flavor from this paste in here. And it's going to, you know, cook down that paste. That paste is going to kind of start sticking to it. I think we need just a touch more oil because I didn't add quite 2 tablespoons to it, and that's going to kind of help cook and fry everything. So we're going to give it just a little more oil. That's going to help loosen everything up too. I'm just going to kind of keep mixing this so I get that paste all mixed up with our chicken. And you start seeing, you know, some of that chicken starting to cook a little bit. You want that, because you obviously want cooked chicken. But that means you want to cook it as long for the next step, and you can eat sooner. So our chicken's looking good, smelling good. And we're going to go ahead and add our coconut milk. Just add the whole can. That white stuff that was stuck on top, that's the coconut cream. That's the good stuff. The clear stuff's the coconut water that a lot of people will drink. Coconut water is actually really good for hydration. So if you're feeling a little dehydrated, coconut water is a good thing to rehydrate you with. During World War II, medics used to take coconuts and run them as IVs for people in the the Pacific Islands when they needed IVs, because it's a sterile liquid that's great with hydration. So just mixing this all up. And we're going to add our tomato sauce. This is looking a little soft. I'm going to add about half a can of this. You can add the whole can if you want. This is already looking a little soupy. We can always add a little more later if it cooks down too much. So we're just getting this all mixed in and mixed up. And we can go ahead and add our potatoes as well, because they will cook down a little bit and pick up all that nice flavor from the curry. So we'll get this out of the way. Get everything nice and mixed up. And we kind of want to bring this up to a boil, and then we'll turn it down to a simmer and let it simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes depending on your chicken pieces. Mine are kind of small, so it won't take quite as long to cook. So our curry's looking nice and mixed up. That's the hard part of waiting before you taste everything, because it's raw chicken. But I want to take a look at our couscous real quick. So our couscous is looking good. It still needs to absorb a little bit of water, or chicken stock. So I'm just going to give this a little stir. Those raisins are starting to puff up a little bit in there, and that's great. They're going to give us a nice little sweet pop whenever we get them mixed in with the curry. So we're going to put the lid back on that and just let it sit and do its thing. That couscous will absorb all that. Now it's got to wait and wait and wait. And I wish that your burner cooked faster. We'll try to double time it with 2 burners, that way we can cook a little faster. Like I said, I wish you all could smell this, because it smells really good. I used to go to a place for brunch on Sundays, and they did a curried eggs Benedict. So they had the English muffin, the Canadian bacon. They did some grilled chicken, the poached egg, and then this on top of the holidays, and it was great. But then they took it off the menu, like most places do with good stuff. So just kind of letting this cook. The longer you let it cook, the more intense the flavors are going to be. Your sauce will cook down a little bit more too, so it won't be quite as saucy. So if you see yours is not quite as saucy as mine, that means it's cooked down a little too far. You can add a little bit of chicken stock to it, a little more coconut milk if you got some coconut milk, heavy cream, Greek yogurt, or a little more tomato product, and to kind of thin it back out with that. Just when you do that, add a couple tablespoons at a time as opposed to too much, because you don't want to add too much at once and then just become a big soupy mess and not the right consistency. So we're starting to get some bubbles starting to form. So you can see it's starting to bubble up. If you got one of those screens at home that you can put over top of stuff when it fries to keep the the grease from splattering, or if you're making a big thing of tomato sauce, you can put that screen on top and keeps the tomato sauce from bubbling everywhere. You can put that on top of here to kind of help keep things from bubbling away. We don't have one here, but it'll be alright because we're not going to go too far from it. And like I said, my chicken's cooked or cut pretty small, so this won't take very long to cook at all. So we might be just about there. We can let it cook down, let the sauce reduce a little more. I'm going to grab a fork and taste my couscous to see if it's done. Couscous is kind of like pasta. You want a little bit of a bite to it, but not completely. So this is pearl couscous. That's cooked, so we're gonna drain off a little bit of this excess water because we don't need it. So our couscous is ready to go. I recommend using a strainer for that, but I don't have one over here. So we're going to get a plate. We'll clean up these onions out of the way. Our curry's cooking away, looking great. So let's get some couscous. We'll put it on our plate here. Couscous is kind of like rice. Whenever you cook it, it expands and takes up more space and makes everything, you know, you don't need a whole lot to feed a lot of people. So I want to get a piece of our chicken out and test it. Like I said, mine's cut up pretty small, so it shouldn't take very long to cook at all. And we'll grab a little knife here. So my chicken is cooked all the way because it's tiny. I want to taste my sauce. Oh yeah, that's some good sauce. There's that jalapeno. This is going to be a good one. So I'm just going to take it, give it a little stir, and start putting it over top of our couscous here. That couscous is going to soak up the sauce and be great. Let me see if I got a spoon over here. Yeah, it's going to work a lot better. So yeah, our curry chicken and couscous is all set. So I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. Give it a try. You know, you could always change up your curry a little bit and do chickpeas instead of chicken. You can add bell peppers to it. You can, you know, take out the spice. You know, take out the coconut sauce or coconut milk and just do all tomato. You know, it's kind of fun to play with depending on what kind of curries you like. Hope you guys like it. We'll see you next time.